Hello, we hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another CSGO news episode. I hope you guys all enjoy. Going to be a bit of a weird episode though because not too many stories out there, and as punishment for not being too many stories, at the very end of today's video I'll do something special for you guys in terms of punishment for me not getting enough news to share with all of you. But first off, I'll share with you guys some videos out there in the forums, and I'll also close out today's episode by talking about the brand new HLTV rankings. So if you guys want breakdowns, my thoughts and opinions on that, I think every month we can actually dedicate a news segment to me talking about the current HLTV rankings, which were released a couple days ago, and they definitely are interesting. But first off, of course, on the Reddit forums out there, guys, we had a very funny post apparently at a Polish LAN event out there. If you guys have not seen the clip already, it was actually a couple kids at a Polish LAN event who actually stole a wallet, and here is how they developed that secretive, sneaky plan to do so, and the reactions afterward as well. And also we had N0thing on his stream actually talk about a story time with his past, with of course being Cloud9 and Stewie 2K. I'm not going to try and develop some kind of overall analysis of this. I guess old Jake would have been like, oh my gosh, Stewie 2K is a toxic guy and there's so many problems with whatever future team he has. I don't think I'm going to take anything from this video, guys, but it was a very funny story time from N0thing on his live stream.
I've since remedied this kind of, I talked to Steel Lands, and I think I even FaceTime with, we FaceTime the other day. I was on vacation. He was telling me about some personal problems. I still probably one of the closest people to Stu. But it's more like that older brother who just wants to smack his younger brother all the time. That's kind of our relationship. Stu wakes up. I'm stretching my back. And I go, ugh. And I make like a stretching sound. And he turns to me like in full seriousness. Shut the fuck up. What did you just say? Fucking trying to sleep here. I went... dumped his pre-workout in the trash, and took his mattress and dumped it off the fucking bed, and like ripped the sheets off. I was like, please, talk to me like that again. And also on top of that, a very cool Betway interview. I'll link it down below for all of you guys with Yanko. If you guys, of course, know, a couple days ago, he accepted his full-time coaching job with MiBR, which came out of nowhere, given his past, of course, historically a CSGO pro player, back in his day, also a Counter-Strike player himself. But again, a big question mark into his future as to being an analyst in the scene. Of course, he was actually on the come up, on the rise, being at an analyst desk at many events out there, kind of establishing himself in the community ever since he was a pro player, and getting great response from the community so far. And he definitely had a future as an analyst, and of course he actually came forward with an interview and said apparently he knew about this offer all the way back in June. Obviously now in August is when he actually accepted a few days ago, so he actually laid off this offer for just over a month and actually debated his future as an analyst or future as a coach, and he finally took the offer. Now of course we never know if the offer was bumped up, but again, it's gonna be great to see what this guy can do in the future, as there are so many question marks, and I think there are more doubters out there than believers. Of course he has plenty of support from all of us out there, but I think there's definitely a good amount of doubters out there who think that Yanko is a solution to his MiBR roster, and I hope he definitely is. But it's really cool to see as well, he's actually had this offer for a very long time. He questioned it, and actually of course had the question whether he wants to be an analyst in the future or pursue his future in CSGO as a coach, and that was a very cool thing to hear about. And it's kind of unfortunate for today's short news episode, why we don't have any too good stories out there. I do want to announce though, thank you all so much for actually being a part of this these videos so far, because I'm announcing a long-term partnership. Yes, my first long-term partnership in a long time on the channel. It's actually going to be for the remainder of this month and partially next month. It's going to be with free.gg. It's a new website out there, actually established just about 2 weeks ago. It did first launch, and it's pretty much like former websites have actually worked with, guys. A great place for all of you guys to actually earn CSGO skins, as well as they're actually working with bit skins as well as cryptocurrencies. You guys can earn skins out there and credits on their website to withdraw into skins or cryptocurrencies by watching videos, doing surveys, that kind of thing. And I can guarantee you guys in the long-term future, they're working towards actually adding more options to actually earn credits, add more videos so you guys can watch and earn those credits. So if you guys want to use my referral link down below, you can use it now, you can use it later. You guys can use code NEWS for a free 250 credits on the website, and they're going to be my long-term partnership, which I am so excited for, because on top of that, we're going to be doing a lot of Twitter giveaways in the future. So I'm going to do a big Twitter giveaway with them in the future, but currently as well, I'm also doing a Twitter giveaway with Raffle 1. It does end tomorrow, guys, so it's actually for a Gut Knife Crimson Web. I will link that down below on top of that, but again, my long-term sponsorship is now with free.gg. You guys can see it above there as well, and just quick thank you, guys. I know it's a short episode today, say, but thank you all for supporting me and actually having this sponsorship. It means a lot to me. You guys know money is a bit tight around here, but also let's bounce into some last stories for today's episode of CSGO News. And so I do want to announce, many of you guys are aware of my current upload schedule. I actually pre-record these the night before. I upload them 5:30 a.m. the next morning as well for your time. As of right now, you guys probably watching this video have probably found out about the new North roster. According to Nell, other sources out there, apparently North and Heroic will make a roster swap. It will be Nico for Mertz. Mertz on that North roster was kind of, I guess you could say, historically speaking, the past month or so, definitely probably their worst player. Now, whenever I say this, I think people get offended. I don't mean he's a bad player. Certainly a great player, deserves a great spot, and maybe will work out well in Heroic, but I think a great trade here for what you could say probably, historically speaking, is Heroic's best player, Nico. He's actually played with North in the past and some of these players before, and he also did sub in for Optic. I think it was actually at the Star Series Season 6 qualifiers, and he was probably one of their top fraggers throughout the event. Historically speaking, definitely a younger talent, definitely a rising talent, and hopefully will do well with North, and apparently that's going to be their new announcement for their new roster for both DreamHack Stockholm as well as the Face It Major. North will be changing that roster, and we'll be adding Nico from Heroic. Now, very last thing for roster changes as well, as it will be Face It, apparently the trade lock, the roster lock was a couple days ago. They should be announcing the rosters not only on their website sometime soon, but all these teams do have to come forward eventually. I think especially because stickers are coming out soon, the announcement for those stickers will know officially what teams have what players, but it most likely will be Golden and Sticko joining the Cloud9 roster, as to no surprise, but apparently HLTV has now officially joined or added them to their roster. Now, we're not really sure if that's the official announcement, because if you look on Cloud9's website, Golden and Sticko are not there, but again, at the point of me recording this episode, nothing's been announced. At the point of you guys watching, something might be very soon, but we should have all those rosters finalized very, very shortly. And now for our last story today, guys, before I get into my own punishment for today's episode, I do want to talk about HLTV rankings, give you guys a breakdown of my opinions, and of course, they were kind of drastic rankings. For the first time in a long time, I've actually wanted to comment on these. So let's get into it, boys. We're going to break down the HLTV rankings. This is something I actually really enjoy doing. You look at, I guess you could say historically, statistically, how these teams have been doing, and you, of course, assess why they are where they are in the current top 20 rankings. I'm only going to cover the top 20 teams, and again, this actually gives me an idea for a future series. Leave a comment down below or leave a like down below if you guys want this. I want to actually upload an hour-long episode, kind of a recap of what happened throughout the week or so. I want to do an hour-long episode every week or 2 weeks, kind of recapping what happened in CSGO, and definitely kind of a vent or a video idea where I can actually show my opinion or share my opinion on controversial topics. So, of course, if I were to do one last week for all of you guys, it'd be over like the doc situation, the rankings in CSGO, the struggles of North American CSGO, that kind of stuff. If you guys want an hour-long episode every week or 2 weeks sharing my thoughts and opinions, for all of you hardcore gamers out there who play video games regularly, or you go on long drives, you want to have me in the background, kind of just some background noise for you guys to listen to, please leave a like or a comment down below if you guys do want that to be a series, because I definitely have thought heavily about doing that. It's kind of like By the Numbers by Richard Lewis or Thorne, but my own opinions as well. And I know a lot of you guys probably don't care about my opinion, but some of you guys might. So leave a comment down below if you guys want that series, because I've definitely thought about it for a long time. And if we get like 37 likes in this episode, I will definitely do that this weekend, starting for the first time, and we'll call it like CSGO, This Week in CSGO, episode 1 through whatever, how long it lasts. But anyway, breaking down, of course, the newest HLTV rankings for the first time. I've really never talked about this, but I think for the first time in a long time, we have such a, I guess, a big rift between these top 6 teams and everyone else in CSGO. I definitely want to talk about this and share my opinions. Of course, right now, our top 6, really no surprise. We have Astralis, we have Na'Vi, we have FaZe, Liquid, Mouse Sports, and Big. Let's break down really quickly. Astralis, of course, you really can't debate them being our best team going into the next major. I think so far they've gone to the grand finals 8 events this year, 4 of which they've come away with wins. They look pretty good, of course, at E-League Premier, taking that title most notably, most recently, and they look pretty dominant over teams like Liquid, which is probably no surprise, but still, most consistent team out there, and definitely some great finishes this year. Definitely the strongest roster going into the major, followed closely by Na'Vi. Of course, Na'Vi most notably up here because they've actually had that 3-event streak. It was Star Series, it was the Asian Championships, and then it was ESL Cologne. They took victories at 3 straight events, and those were actually premier events, and of course, most notably as well, also a top 4 finish at E-League Premier, losing to Liquid kind of surprisingly, and I guess at a 2-0 sweep, but definitely a closer series than we thought. So I think by far and away, and rightfully so, those are your number 1 and number 2 teams going into the major. And then we have FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan, kind of a sleeper team out there ever since Olaf Meister came back. Even without Olaf Meister, they were winning events with Guardian and Chroman, or at least placing top 2 or top 4. So always going to be a consistent team, always a team you're going to be scared of, and definitely deserving, in my own opinion, of a 3rd place spot. Everyone is always going to be scared of FaZe Clan, and going forward, if they get better, and when I say they, I mean everyone but Olaf Meister, especially if you guys watch E-League Premier, it was not Olaf Meister struggling. He actually went off fairly decently at the event. So FaZe Clan's always going to be a heavy hitter out there, and definitely deserving a 3rd place spot. Then, of course, we have Liquid. I think most notably, they're only in this
4th place spot because of their E-League Premier finishes. I think they're really inconsistent. I think most North American teams really are. They're definitely our best American team, our best North American team as well. They deserve probably maybe a top 5 spot. I'm not really sure if 4th place is definitely deserving, but most recently they did place top 2 at E-League Premier, and they lost pretty badly to Astralis, but that's probably why they've been bumped up to that number 4 spot. And then of course we have Mouse Sports, a very inconsistent team in my own opinion, but definitely a team that looks very interesting for the future. Of course, most notably acquiring Snacks in place of Sticko on that roster, and definitely what many people saw as an improvement. But then you can look at their most recent performances, barely, I guess you could say 9th through 12th at the Cologne, and also 3rd through 4th at E-League Premier. A team who can make playoffs, but once they make playoffs, you really question where they're at. But again, not going to argue with that. Definitely probably a team who should be in the top 5, especially given their early results a few months ago. And then very lastly, we do have Team Big, probably one of the teams out there who I would say is deserving of number 6 spot, but I think after number 5, after Mouse Sports, is really where we see kind of a fall off of these teams. We have, of course, their top 2 Cologne finish, where we saw a huge comeback. They beat teams like FaZe Clan, beat teams that they probably shouldn't be beating, like MiBR as well, and they looked very impressive doing so. We're going to see where they end up in the future, and I definitely believe they deserve this spot for now, but definitely after this spot is really we see a big fall off. Teams like MiBR, if you would have asked me 2016, 2017, SK Gaming, this being the current MiBR roster, or at least most of it, and they're now partnered up and right around teams in the rankings like NRG and Tyloo, you really got to look at these rankings and say, wow, we have a top 5 team in the world. Then we have a huge fall off, with that being MiBR, kind of the start of the fall off of this list. And I think the only reason Tyloo is so high, and I do think they are a bit overrated going into the major. Now, I'm not going to, of course, argue the fact that they have one of the better IGLs in the world right now. If Ben Tech could speak multiple languages, the fact this guy can actually frag so hard in IGL the entire squad and still be in most matches, or at least a majority of the matches, at least a top 2 fragger on the team, he's really an overlooked IGL. I know people actually think he's an amazing player. I know people get that, but until a while ago, I actually did not know he was the IGL of the team. Because he was fragging so hard, you kind of just insist that the captain, I always thought Mo was actually their captain as well as their IGL. So Tyloo, probably a bit overrated in my own book. That's because of IEM Shanghai. They placed 2nd there to NRG. I think NRG on the entire list here is probably, I don't want to say underrated, but definitely a solidified spot right here in the top 10, and probably a team that I look forward in the future to maybe climbing the top 10 if they can actually stay consistent. If you guys have watched these guys, I guess unfortunately enough, the major qualifier I talked about last episode, but throughout IEM Shanghai, they looked amazing. They definitely earned their spot in the top 10. If you guys saw the teams they were beating, all teams inside the top 20 or around that. They 2-1 HR, they 2-0 sweep, I believe, Gambit. On top of that, also Virtus Pro. They beat 3 teams inside the top 25, and it's kind of sad to say that Virtus Pro, HR, and Gambit are only barely inside the top 25, but given current results, that's just where they stand, and I still think NRG should have made the major, and they could have definitely proven themselves. And alongside that, very lastly, a team I want to comment on, of course, we have Cloud9 and Virtus Pro kind of battling it back right there to actually round out the top 20. Of course, Cloud9 is half a roster. I think, given their past history, I believe right now, of their past 9 matches, they've only won 1 of those series, so probably deserving of a borderline top 20 team. And again, they have half a roster, so looking forward, Cloud9 hopefully going to be climbing the rankings very slowly. Virtus Pro has not done much. They also changed their roster as well, finally acquiring Snatchy. I expect them to climb as well. It's just very weird to see teams that were once in the top 5, easily in the top 10, now fall all the way back here. And we also have Team Imperial. I want to actually round them off very lastly. I think a team who is definitely underrated. I talked about them last episode, given their past history of victories, especially over the past their past 5 or 6 matches. 2-0 sweeping Epsilon, Tempo Storm. They also 2-0 sweep on top of that Optic Gaming, other teams as well inside the top 20. I think definitely a team deserving of a top 25 score, and definitely a team who can also climb in the future. So they actually have 2-0 sweeps. Also Space Soldiers, I think, was one of them as well. So it's going to be cool to see what they do in the future. But those are your top 25 teams, or top 20-ish teams right now. Leave a comment down below. What do you guys think? Who's underrated? Who's overrated? And that's my breakdown, my opinions about that. I cannot wait to see what after the major, what these standings do become, because a lot of these teams, good 4 or 5 teams so far on this actual list, have changed their rosters significantly and will do so in the future as well. Alright, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know if I can show this bottle on YouTube because I don't want to get demonetized. You guys know I need the money so badly. I'm going to pour out the PashaBiceps special. Now, I've been creeping on Motor2K a lot on Twitter, and apparently he's been feeling kind of sick, and so in punishment, if you guys could tell, I had to drag out that last segment pretty long to actually make this video a decent length for news. So my punishment for not bringing enough news to all of you guys is I'm going to do the PashaBiceps, the PashaBiceps special, which is According to him, 50 milliliters of vodka, alongside that a teaspoon of pepper, which actually is a Polish remedy for flu and sickness out there. And I'm going to do this, and then we're going to end the episode, and I'll see you guys in a couple days more. Pretty sure the recipe says an entire teaspoon, and I can guarantee you guys I've never put pepper in my vodka. And it's also a Tuesday here, and I don't usually drink on Tuesday. My name is Jake, and this is CSGO News. I hope you guys all enjoy it, and I'll see you tomorrow. I love my job.